Keith in Texas. Keith, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Mr. Jones and Mr. Chapman, pleasure.
Pleasure.
Anyway, okay. First thing, Alex, good choice of music on your show when you come off of the commercials. And Mr. Chapman, I got a little food for thought here. We have the gold for so many other countries held here in the Federal Reserve in New York and also in Fort Knox. When everything comes down, don't you think they're going to want their gold back?
I understand that recently Switzerland asked for their gold back, which was being held at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. I don't know what came of that. I haven't seen anything about it since. And I understand that just recently, in the last couple of weeks, Germany has asked for their gold back as well. Their gold, from what I understand, is segregated. It's being held in a vault at West Point.
Yeah, the info I've got, Bob, and we'll answer this when we get back from your take. There's no gold at Fort Knox, never been audited. They've taken it out. The gold is at the private New York Fed that Geithner perched atop. Then we'll have your comeback to that, Keith, when we come back with Bob Chapman. I'm Alex Jones. This is the GCN Radio Network.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN, great talk radio starts here.
George Strait was singing.
You know, we can rant and rave all day. It's real serious what's happening in our society, but it's also very simple. Private interests come in with corporate management strategies. They buy off your governments. They take over. They set up policies to consolidate power and control in their hands. And that's bad for the average person. They're federalizing everything, training you to accept troops on the streets, bankrupting our future, destroying our infrastructure by design on paper. That's the New World Order. Bob Chapman, what is your understanding of where the gold of Fort Knox is? We know they've been very secretive since the 60s of where that went.
Well, we have subscribers who formerly worked there, and they say there's no gold there. And so I think your comment about it being at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York is correct. If, in fact, U.S. gold is there, I don't know. Nobody does. No audit since 1954. They also hold gold for other countries at that facility, and we know they hold gold at West Point for Germany.
And that's how ridiculously secretive all this is. Congress is just now learning, the congressmen are so ignorant from Ron Paul, that the Fed is thumbing its nose saying no one can look at us, no agency, no branch of government. And he's got 86 sponsors on the show? Ron Paul has 86 sponsors right now to audit these bastards.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and I sure hope it happens. And 86 is quite a bit. But I think by the time this thing gets really rolling, he'll probably have 125 or 150.
Well, what about
and
just the issue?
There will be a big fight because the Fed, the bankers, the Wall Street, they will be in there pouring money like they did when they wanted to get NAFTA passed into these congressmen's pockets.
Well, absolutely. They're criminals. But, I mean, that is the silver bullet. If you can audit the Fed, and because they've admitted what they've done, all these crimes, foreign money, giving it to private people. I mean, just the issue, though, of showing how it's private and showing that it's above the law, that, I mean, just what Ron Paul's doing, if you just point out what they're doing, it's so criminal, they should fall apart. I mean, the point I'm trying to make here is it's outrageous how openly corrupt this is. It's outrageous how above the law it is. And they're not above the law. So if we just get the word out, Bob, they should implode.
And that's what we're doing. And it is happening. And we're going all over the world with it. Yes, it's an American problem in this case with the Fed. But the rest of the world is very, very interested. You know, how do these people get away with it? How do they continue to get away with it? And why don't you Americans stop it?
Yeah, that's what I get every day from Africa and Asia and Europe. And they go, come on, Americans, we know you're not bad. Do something about the criminals that run you. Bob, I want to keep you 15 minutes the next hour if you can do it, to do some more financial updating and talk about what's happening with gold. Then I'm going to do a big news blitz and continue with calls, listeners. But going back to Keith in Texas, did you have anything else you wanted to add, sir?
Well, the last thing I was going to say is, honestly, if everything gets really, really ugly, I don't think, honestly, that whoever has the gold is going to want to give it back to anybody. And then also, I want to say, everybody listening, you never know if your phone call is going to be that last phone call that gets somebody in Congress or in the Senate to act. So if everybody is diligent, we'll get this stuff taken care of. We'll get this stuff stopped.
I hear you. Exactly. If people take action and say no, the New World Order can't get away with it. It's because we have handed over our responsibility. Stop worrying about how government worked, that the vacuum was filled by these crooks. I mean, folks, they made my grandmother, when she was in high school, and she remembers her father turning his gold in. He didn't turn it all in, for paper money. Then they doubled the price of gold a year later, publicly shipped it all to Europe. What they kept, they took from the American people, they put it in Knox, and they won't say where it is. I mean, think about it. We took all your gold, we won't say where it is, we're the government, sit down and shut up. You've accurately gauged how the stock market will go up and down the last few years, 5, 6 months, a year ahead of time. You've been saying it would go down, then back up, then back down again, and then even listing the month. What do you see happening in the next few months, but not just with the markets, but with the real economy, with real estate bubble, not just the individual, home real estate, but the commercial real estate market? What do you see happening with 600,000+ people losing their job every month, while Obama tells us the economy's great and the IMF and World Bank tell us the economy's horrible? What's going on there?
Well, I think the IMF is creating the impression that we're responsible and the other guys aren't, and that's why everything should be turned over to us, and we should have World Monetary Authority and world currency and things of that sort. The numbers on unemployment, my U6 number is 19.2%, and John Williams's is 19.8%. So unemployment, true unemployment, is close to 20%. And we're having a lot of companies that report in groups like the large-scale layoffs. These are 50 or more people. In March alone, were almost 3,000. Now, that varies anywhere from 50 workers to 50,000, but most of the figures are in the area of 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. And there have been 31,414 since the start of the recession, which officially was a year ago, December. And so unemployment officially is dreadful, and it's going to continue that way. There is nothing that's going to change anything. I mean, world trade is shut down. The stress test results are coming out right now, or what they want you to know. We can put it that way.
Yeah, let's talk about what's in the future for banks. They're saying the stress tests are so bad they can't even release them. That was their plan to do that all along. We'll get Bob Chapman's take on that and your phone calls straight ahead. Stay with us. These stunts, and we already see him losing some of his support, but still the Kool-Aid delusion has gone from he's going to fix it all to, well, he's my president. I invested in him psychologically. I don't care if he rapes me financially and betrays me. I mean, how does Bob Chapman see this unfolding?
Well, it's more duplicitous behavior. The public is catching on fast this time. I guess they were skeptical going in, and they've discovered him for what he is. And I predicted that by October that his rating would be down to 40. And it wasn't too long ago, it was 60, I guess 2 weeks ago. And I saw a poll, Rasmussen came out, and they said that it was lower than that. And I saw an ABC poll that said it was higher. The point is, it's all double talk. What they're trying to do is gain time so they can execute the deflationary part of the depression when they want to at will. We have an inflationary depression presently. And so the more time that they can gain and buy by this duplicity, the better they can time what they want to do and bring the whole house of cards down. And, of course, they have to have conflicts going all over the world, which they are in the process of arranging. And as we talked earlier about Pakistan, and Iran will come next after that. And so that's the direction that economy, finance is taking. These are the reasons why. And so this is why the actor, the president, gets up and tells you all this tomfoolery when, in fact, it's never going to happen that way. And it's going to happen the way they want it to happen. And if anything else that comes from this program, you've got to prepare yourself for bad times. We're going to have a sociological experience in America, I think, very similar, and I think we're into it already. It's beginning, just like it was during the 1940s and 50s when I grew up.